The massive alien vessel hung like a dark, metallic nightmare against Earth's blue horizon.
Its shadow stretched across continents, blocking sunlight and casting an ominous darkness that sent chills through every major city on the planet.
Captain J. Park watched from the Global Defense Command Center in Seoul.
His fingers traced the holographic display, tracking the alien ship's precise movements. Years of military training had prepared him for many scenarios, but nothing could have prepared him for this moment. The Keepers, as they called themselves, were not interested in communication.
Their first transmission was a cold, clinical declaration of ownership. Humans will comply. Resistance is ineffective.
The message echoed across every communication network, radio frequency, and digital platform simultaneously. In Washington, London, Beijing, and Moscow, government leaders scrambled to understand the unprecedented invasion. Military strategists argued.
Scientists analyzed. Politicians panicked.
But something strange was happening among ordinary people, a collective sense of unexpected calm. Miho Kim, a young engineer in Busan, looked up at the sky and felt something beyond fear.
Curiosity burned in his eyes.
He had spent years studying quantum mechanics and advanced technological systems. Where others saw a threat, he saw a puzzle waiting to be solved.
The alien vessel didn't resemble any spacecraft humans had imagined.
It was organic yet mechanical, with fluid lines that seemed to breathe and shift. Metallic surfaces rippled like liquid, suggesting technology far beyond human comprehension.
Smaller probe vessels began descending, scanning the planet's surface with precision.
Military jets scrambled, their pilots knowing fully well their conventional weapons stood little chance against such advanced technology. Radar systems struggled to lock onto the alien craft, which seemed to exist in multiple dimensional spaces simultaneously. Dr. Yuna Lee, a lead quantum physicist, watched the initial scans with intense concentration. Her team had been preparing contingency plans for decades, studying theoretical first contact scenarios.
But theory was dramatically different from reality. "They're not here to communicate," she muttered, analyzing the probe's movement patterns.
"They're here to assess and categorize." The probes moved with calculated efficiency, sweeping across major cities, industrial zones, and military installations.
They collected data at speeds that made supercomputers look primitive.
Each scan revealed humanity's infrastructure, technological capabilities, and potential resistance levels.
What the Keepers didn't understand was human unpredictability. Their advanced algorithms could not compute the complexity of human emotion, creativity, and adaptability.
They saw patterns where humans saw opportunities. They calculated probabilities where humans imagined possibilities. In rural areas, farmers looked up. In urban centers, professionals paused.
Children pointed and asked questions. The collective human response was not panic, but a strange, unified curiosity. J. Park noticed something peculiar in the global response data. Instead of widespread terror, there was an emerging sense of collective resilience. Communication networks weren't breaking down, they were expanding, sharing information, analyzing the alien presence collaboratively. The alien probes continued their methodical survey, unaware that each scan was simultaneously being studied, analyzed, and understood by human researchers across the globe. What seemed like a one-sided invasion was rapidly becoming a complex, multi-dimensional encounter. Miho Kim's fingers danced across computer screens, developing initial computational models to understand the alien technology. In laboratories, universities, and research centers worldwide, similar efforts were underway. Humanity was not just observing, they were preparing. As the first day of the alien presence concluded, something became clear: this was not a simple invasion. This was a complex, unprecedented encounter between two civilizations with fundamentally different approaches to understanding existence. The Keepers believed they were conducting a standard planetary acquisition. Humanity was about to prove them catastrophically wrong. The first encounter had begun. And nothing would ever be the same again. The alien probes continued their systematic survey, unaware that human resistance was already taking shape. Dr. Yuna Lee's research team worked with unprecedented speed, breaking down the complex alien signal patterns faster than anyone expected. In a nondescript research facility outside Seoul, computers hummed with intense activity. Miho Kim had developed an unconventional approach to decoding the alien communication systems. Where traditional methods would take months, his quantum-inspired algorithms began producing results within hours. Military installations around the world transformed overnight. Conventional weapons seemed useless, so they shifted strategy. Instead of preparing for traditional combat, they began developing adaptive response technologies. Satellite networks reconfigured. Communication systems became more resilient. Every government and research center worked in an unexpected global harmony. The Keeper's first major mistake was underestimating human technological adaptation. Their probes, designed to categorize and control, found themselves increasingly confused by human network responses. When they attempted to disrupt communication systems, humans simply created new networks, rerouted signals, and developed alternative transmission methods. J. Park coordinated global defense efforts with a calm that surprised even his closest colleagues. Military strategies evolved minute by minute. They weren't preparing to fight, they were preparing to understand and counteract. In rural areas, unexpected resistance emerged. Farmers and local communities began developing low-tech solutions that completely bypassed the advanced alien scanning technologies. Old radio systems, hardwired communication lines, and manual coordination methods became unexpected weapons against high-tech invasion strategies. Satellite imaging showed something peculiar. Instead of chaos, human settlements were reorganizing with remarkable efficiency. Industrial zones reconfigured. Communication networks expanded. Resources were being redistributed with a speed that defied traditional organizational models. The alien probes detected increased activity but couldn't comprehend its nature. Their advanced algorithms struggled to categorize human response patterns. What seemed like random activity was actually a highly coordinated global effort. Miho Kim's breakthrough came unexpectedly. By analyzing the alien probe's communication frequencies, he discovered subtle weaknesses in their transmission protocols. Each scan they performed actually revealed more about their own technological limitations than about human capabilities. Research teams worldwide began sharing information at unprecedented rates. Universities, military research centers, and private technology companies formed instant collaboration networks. Language barriers disappeared. Cultural differences became irrelevant. Humanity transformed into a single, adaptive organism. The Keeper's initial assessment had been catastrophically wrong. They viewed humans as a fragmented, primitive species. Instead, they encountered a civilization capable of near-instant global cooperation. Dr. Yuna Lee's team developed the first successful signal disruption method. It wasn't about destroying alien technology, it was about understanding and redirecting it. Their approach was more like a complex dance than a violent confrontation. Military strategists realized traditional combat was useless. The resistance would be technological, psychological, and adaptive. Every probe scan, every alien communication attempt, became an opportunity to learn and develop counter-strategies. Unexpected heroes emerged. Computer programmers, quantum physicists, rural communication experts, and military strategists worked together in ways no one could have predicted. The human response was not a single strategy but a constantly evolving, multi-layered approach. As the second day of the alien presence concluded, something became abundantly clear: this was not going to be a simple invasion. The Keepers had encountered a species that defied every standard invasion protocol in their advanced databases. J. Park looked at the global defense network maps. What he saw was not fear, but a complex, coordinated global response. Humanity was not just resisting, they were transforming the very nature of the encounter. The initial resistance had begun. And the Keepers were about to learn that humanity was nothing like they had predicted. The psychological warfare began subtly, almost imperceptibly. Sung Choi, a former intelligence specialist, understood something fundamental about human communication that the Keepers completely missed: emotion was a weapon more powerful than any technology. Human researchers discovered that the alien communication systems operated on pure logical patterns.
They processed information like mathematical equations, removing all emotional context.
This was their fundamental weakness.
Humans, by contrast, communicated through layers of emotional and contextual complexity.
Miho Kim's team developed a breakthrough communication strategy.
They began flooding alien communication channels with complex, multi-layered information that defied traditional logical processing.
Music, art fragments, emotional narratives, and seemingly random cultural references were integrated into technical signals. The Keepers' computational systems started experiencing unexplained glitches. Their advanced algorithms, designed to process pure information, began to malfunction when confronted with human communication's intricate emotional landscapes.
What seemed like random noise was actually a carefully constructed psychological assault.
Dr. Yuna Lee realized that human unpredictability was their greatest strength. Where the Keepers expected linear responses, humans provided multidimensional reactions. Each alien probe scan was met with information that confused their understanding of human behavior.
In military command centers, strategies evolved beyond traditional warfare concepts. They weren't just defending, they were deliberately creating psychological complexity. Misinformation campaigns were launched that contained fragments of truth, making them impossible for logical systems to completely dismiss. Sung Choi's most brilliant strategy involved cultural misdirection.
Teams began broadcasting complex cultural narratives that embedded subtle technological information. To the Keepers, these seemed like meaningless communications. In reality, they were sophisticated information packets designed to disrupt alien computational processes. Global communication networks transformed into a living, breathing psychological defense mechanism. Social media, traditionally seen as a fragmented platform, became an unexpected weapon. The sheer complexity of human online interactions created computational challenges that the aliens couldn't decode.
The alien probes began experiencing increased computational errors.
Their systems, designed for straightforward information gathering, couldn't process the layers of human communication. What appeared to be random became a deliberate psychological strategy. J. Park watched the global defense networks with growing understanding.
Humanity wasn't just resisting, they were reshaping the entire concept of invasion.
Traditional military strategies had been replaced by something far more sophisticated: psychological adaptation. Research teams discovered that human emotional responses created computational interference that the Keepers couldn't predict.
Humor, sarcasm, cultural references, and emotional complexity became unexpected defensive mechanisms.
Each alien scan was met with information that defied their logical understanding.
Young researchers in universities began developing what they called emotional encryption communication methods that embedded complex psychological layers into technical signals. These weren't just messages, they were psychological puzzles designed to confuse and disrupt alien computational systems. The Keepers' first mistake had been assuming that technological superiority guaranteed invasion success. They were discovering that technology meant nothing against a species capable of psychological innovation.
Miho Kim's breakthrough came when he realized that human creativity was itself a form of advanced technology.
The ability to imagine, to create unexpected solutions, was a computational method far more advanced than any alien scanning system. As days passed, the alien probes became increasingly confused. Their systematic approaches began to fail. Each attempt to categorize human behavior resulted in more computational complications. They were encountering a species that didn't just resist, they transformed the very concept of resistance.
Sung Choi smiled, watching the global defense networks. Humanity wasn't just defending itself.
They were teaching the Keepers an unexpected lesson about the power of psychological complexity.
The psychological breakthrough was complete.
And the invasion was about to become something the Keepers could never have predicted. The technological improvisation began in unexpected laboratories and workshops around the world.
Miho Park led a team that looked at captured alien technology not as a threat, but as the most fascinating puzzle humanity had ever encountered. In a small research facility outside Busan, engineers worked around the clock.
They had discovered that alien technology, while advanced, followed specific computational patterns. These patterns became weaknesses when humans applied their unique approach to problem solving. Dr. Yuna Lee's breakthrough came from an unlikely source. By analyzing the molecular structure of alien probe components, her team realized the technology was based on a rigid, predictable framework.
Humans could exploit this rigidity by introducing unexpected variable elements. The first successful technological adaptation happened almost by accident.
A young engineer named Jihoon discovered that common Earth materials, particularly a combination of silicon-based compounds and organic polymers, could create interference fields that disrupted alien scanning technologies.
Military research centers transformed overnight.
Instead of trying to match alien technology, they began developing adaptive systems that could change their fundamental structure in real time. Where alien technology expected consistent responses, human technology learned to be unpredictable.
Jay Park watched the global technological response with growing amazement.
Universities, private research centers, and military installations shared information at unprecedented speeds.
What seemed like isolated experiments became a global collaborative effort to understand and neutralize alien technology.
The Keeper's technological systems operated on a principle of absolute control. They expected predictable responses and had developed scanning technologies that could anticipate most resistance strategies. They did not understand that human innovation thrived on breaking expected patterns.
Miho Kim's team developed a revolutionary approach.
They created adaptive communication modules that could change their fundamental transmission characteristics in milliseconds.
Each alien probe scan would receive different technological signatures, making long-term analysis impossible.
Across the planet, unexpected technological solutions emerged. Rural communities developed low-tech adaptations that confused high-tech alien scanning systems. Old radio technologies, manual communication networks, and traditional communication methods became unexpected weapons. The alien probes began experiencing increasing computational challenges.
Their advanced systems, designed to categorize and control, found themselves constantly recalibrating.
Each attempt to scan human technology resulted in more confusion.
Sung Choi's intelligence teams discovered something remarkable.
The alien technology, while advanced, had fundamental limitations. It operated on a principle of perfect information and absolute control. Humanity's technological strength lay in its ability to create imperfect, adaptive solutions. Research centers began developing what they called chaos technologies, systems designed to be deliberately unpredictable. These weren't just defensive mechanisms, they were active technological responses that transformed the very nature of the encounter. One of the most significant breakthroughs came from an unexpected source. A team of young researchers discovered that human biological systems could create natural electromagnetic interference that disrupted alien scanning technologies. The human body itself became a technological weapon.
The Keeper's technological superiority began to crumble.
Their scanning systems, designed for precise categorization, found themselves unable to process the constant technological changes. Humanity wasn't just resisting, they were rewriting the rules of technological engagement.
Miho Park's final breakthrough came when he realized that technological improvisation was more than just a defense strategy.
It was a fundamental approach to problem solving that the aliens could never understand.
As the technological adaptation reached its peak, something became clear. This was no longer about resisting an invasion. This was about fundamentally challenging the concept of technological superiority.
The alien probes continued their scans, increasingly confused by the constant technological transformations. Humanity had turned their advanced technology into a complex, ever-changing puzzle that defied all expected computational models.
Jay Park looked at the global defense networks and smiled. The technological improvisation was complete. And the Keepers were about to learn that true technological strength wasn't about perfection, it was about adaptability. The invasion was about to take an unexpected turn, the final confrontation was nothing like anyone expected. From the Global Command Center in Seoul, Hyun Kim watched as the alien fleet began to disintegrate, not from physical destruction, but from complete psychological and technological collapse. Humanity's resistance had transformed from a defensive strategy to something far more profound.
The keepers discovered they were facing a species that didn't just fight, they reimagined the entire concept of conflict.
Miho Park's technological adaptations had reached their ultimate expression.
Each alien system found itself progressively more confused, its advanced computational networks unable to process the constant human innovations. What seemed like random technological responses were actually a complex, living defense mechanism.
The alien fleet's communication networks began to fracture.
Their rigid hierarchical systems couldn't comprehend the decentralized human response. Every time they attempted to categorize human behavior, they encountered new layers of complexity that defied their computational understanding. Dr. Yuna Lee's team had discovered the ultimate psychological weapon. By flooding alien communication channels with multi-layered information, combining technical data, emotional contexts, cultural references, and deliberate computational noise, they had essentially created a virus that attacked the aliens' fundamental communication systems.
J. Park observed the global response with a sense of quiet amazement. Humanity hadn't won through superior firepower or traditional military might.
They had won through something far more powerful: adaptability, creativity, and an ability to transform challenges into opportunities.
The Keepers' leadership watched in increasing horror as their invasion plans collapsed.
Their advanced scanning technologies, designed to categorize and control, found themselves completely overwhelmed. Humanity wasn't a species to be conquered, they were a living, breathing technological ecosystem that could adapt faster than any invasion strategy.
Sung Choi's psychological warfare reached its peak.
The human response had become so complex that the alien systems began to interpret it as a form of intelligence they couldn't comprehend. Each attempt to understand human behavior created more computational confusion. Around the world, people watched the alien fleets retreat.
It wasn't a dramatic explosion or a massive battle.
Instead, the alien vessels simply began to drift, their systems progressively shutting down, unable to process the constant human technological and psychological adaptations.
Miho Kim realized something fundamental about the encounter. The victory wasn't about destroying the aliens.
It was about demonstrating a different approach to existence, one based on adaptation, creativity, and collective problem-solving. The global communication networks erupted in a mixture of relief, excitement, and a strange sense of collective achievement. Universities, research centers, military installations, and civilian networks had worked together in ways no one could have predicted.
The Keeper's final transmission was a message of complete bewilderment.
They couldn't understand how a species they had considered primitive had completely dismantled their invasion strategy. Their computational systems interpreted the human response as something beyond technological warfare, a form of existence they couldn't categorize. As the alien fleet retreated, something remarkable happened. Instead of celebrating with traditional military parades or displays of power, human societies began sharing information.
Research teams compiled data.
Universities analyzed the encounter.
The entire planet seemed to transform the invasion into a collective learning experience. Hyun Kim watched the final alien vessel drift away, its systems completely paralyzed.
The invasion was over. But something more significant had happened. Humanity had demonstrated that technological superiority meant nothing without the ability to adapt, to imagine, to create. The message sent back to the Keeper's home world was clear: humanity was not a species to be conquered. They were a living, breathing, constantly evolving civilization that could transform any challenge into an opportunity. J. Park looked out over Seoul, thinking about the remarkable journey. They hadn't just defended the planet. They had redefined the very concept of resistance.
The unexpected victory was complete. And the universe had learned a crucial lesson about humanity.